Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 15. This is our weekly live stream podcast where we talk about music production, and today we'll be talking about, a lot of things, but namely Dawless jamming. We've got a special guest. You may have noticed a fourth window, 59 Perlen. How are you?
Hey guys, thanks for the invite. I'm feeling great. Super great. Honored to chat with you a little bit about music and stuff. So I just came from home from a birthday party. I had some beers, so
so you're ready. You're ready to talk Dawless jams and everything. Well, that's great. We'll get to it soon. Also with us today, we have our friend and colleague back, Eon Lake, back from his millionth vacation. How are you?
Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh, good. Lovely sunny evening here, and it's nice to be back.
And would you look at that? No tech issues yet. Knock on wood.
No, great. Hang on.
No, don't change anything. And then, of course, with us is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, dude. How are you doing? It's nice to see your face.
I can't complain. Saw you yesterday, but that's never enough, so I'm glad to see you again.
That's behind closed doors. People don't know about that.
Well, we can't travel across the world that quick, so, you know, it's all right.
It's always the way. What have you been doing, bro? You been all right?
Yeah, I've been all right. Nothing crazy. I messed up my wrist, right? And then I cut my other finger, so no guitar, no synths, nothing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going insane. So that's why I've been messing with the SP. Shady Ridge is in the chat. How are you, Shady?
Hey, Shady, welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. Nice to hear you. I will reply to your message at some point. That's always nice. But yeah, we have got 59 Perlen in with us today, special guest. It's the first time we've done this, so he's kind of.
Oh, really?
Phrase? Yeah, well, we haven't had a special guest.
It's the first time we've had you. No.
Yeah, it's cool. So it's always a nice way to go on that front. It's always well. How are you, sir? How is the world of Dawless jamming, and how is what's going on in your world?
Oh, my world of Dawless jamming is great because I got this little guy some days ago.
Oh yeah, that compressor. I saw that on Insta.
Yeah, that is great. So my Dawless world is okay. It's progressing, I would say. It's fun. So yeah.
And you were evangelizing about, what was it, the analog rhythm you introduced recently?
Yeah, that's true. I changed my Octatrack. I got an Octatrack. I don't know if you followed my failure on Instagram. But I couldn't handle it. It was a little.
It's pretty convoluted.
Too much.
Yeah.
So I sold it, and the analog rhythm is just great. So I really love it. I integrated it, and I have now some ideas what to do with it and what to do with the digitunct and stuff. It's fun.
So
it's really
for
fun.
routing, are you putting like the final audio through the compressor, or are you just putting a certain couple of things through it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a guitar compressor.
Yeah.
That is mono, to be honest.
Like this little dude.
Which is cool. Is that the pill?
This is, I think it's an MXR Dynacomp. I think it's MXR. I have a little writing from one of my live shows.
That's very cute, that, to be fair.
Yeah, right?
That's a very cute piece of kit.
That is cool.
So
I'm routing the peak through it because I want a little bit the pads.
Yeah.
I want them to get a little pumping.
Nice.
And the digitone for bass sounds. And then I have I have the Typhoon, which is not compressed, so that not everything goes into this compression because it's also take away stereo fields.
Yeah.
Which I'm currently not so happy with, but it works. Kind of works.
Well, maybe it's best we discuss what is your routing. What do you have? You know, I know you've got a couple synths, as you said, but what's the pathway that you've got?
My routing, I have a mixer that is the center of everything.
Okay.
I have a Tascam Model 12, and I bought it because you can record all the separate channels on an SD card, which I thought that was cool.
I nearly got the 24. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I record everything that I do, so every single jam is recorded, so maybe something turned out to be good, then I have the separate steps. And the routing is pretty simple. So I have the digitunct is routed on 2 channels, or like a stereo channel. And as I just said, the peak is routed into the digitone is routed into the compressor is routed into another pedal to add some stereo imitation, and then it goes to the mixer, And then I have the and then I have the Typhoon, which is also going into the mixer, and that's it. So it's pretty simple, my routing.
I'd love to see a walkthrough. I'd really like to see kind of like a breakdown bit by bit of kind of how you work these things. But obviously, we see your live jams when you do your stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Well, I mean, I know that might be giving away all the secrets, but it'd be nice to see.
He could keep a few, he could keep a few secrets, give out most of them.
Yeah, it could work.
But well, that's on my list. I'm going to make a little. So I like to update this setup because I usually have a project and then I disconnect everything and I start from scratch. Because I most likely have new gear that I want to put in, like the analog rhythm now.
Mm-hmm.
And I get better each time because 6 months ago I felt like I was a kid when I did this. I had no knowledge. But now I got a little better, I think. So, yeah, that is how I like to update this. Sometimes I make like YouTube videos to give people some insights or whatever.
That makes sense. I mean, this is kind of not the reason why. There is no single reason why we approached you to be on the show, but
because he's a good dude. That's why.
Well, I mean,
do you need another reason?
There's a lot of things going on here. The Dawless world is one that is quite a mystique, and it's quite a bit one that's kind of for a lot of people outside. Like Sunwarper, you've been dabbling with it for like what 6 months now? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, especially with that SP.
Yeah,
I think I've had the circuit for a year, but I've really gotten into it with the SP.
If you guys didn't know, those watching, that Sunwarper recently got an SP404 Mark II. I don't know if that he's made.
It's not gold though. I know it disappoints Eon Lake, but I'll get a gold plate for it at some point.
You can cover them, so
yeah. I just get a wrap.
Gold sticker.
Well, no, that you can take off the exterior and put on new ones. Yeah. It's very trendy like that.
Well, I mean, is it even worth it if it's not gold? But we'll get into that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have segments. We wanted to, essentially, 59 Perlen. As far as I'm concerned, in my tiny chimp brain is concerned, the idea of being, you are at the forefront of Dawless jamming in the community. It's always interesting to see. And we were just wondering, how did you get into it? What kind of spurred you to kind of get you on that?
I'd like to know why.
Why? That's the question.
Why? So, first of all, this Dawless thing, I had a live stream not so long ago. I stopped it meantime. I had a weekly live stream with like a little production track from scratch and stuff like that. And there were constantly people asking me, because the show was titled Dawless something. And there were constantly people asking me, why do you call this Dawless? And what is the reason why you call this Dawless? And I thought about that more and more. And I mean, for me, it's not about the tool. For me, it's like I want to do something with knobs and I want to see buttons blinking. And because I feel like I'm a kid when I see all those lights going on and off, I feel like, okay, touch me. Do something with me, and that is so inviting, and that is why I really like those hardware things, and that is what I missed with the computer. So before I started without Dawless music, I made a progressive house using Ableton, and I thought the music was really good. So it was a really good mix. It had a great power, and it was really pressuring and stuff. But there was always something missing, and I didn't know what. But I was always like, okay, where do I want to go with my music? Is it I want to copy and paste this progressive house tracks more over and over again, or do I want to do something else? And then the lockdown started. The first lockdown came in 2020, and I sold my push because I never used it, and I bought a Digitag. There was a first box that I bought, and because I wanted to go live with my music, I wanted to perform in front of people. But I also wanted it to be reproducible. So this modular thing is cool, but I cannot turn it on, and it's gone. And I wanted to be able to make music that has mistakes. So I wanted to turn knobs. I wanted to transform how I feel or what is inside me. I wanted to transform it in a way into music. So I was searching for something with knobs and faders and whatever. And the Digitakt was, at that time, a lot of friends told me, yeah, buy Digitakt and Digitone, and then you will be happy for the rest of your life, which is not the case. But,
get an Octatrack, then you'll be miserable for the rest of your life, apparently, right?
Yeah, and that opened this rabbit hole. And for the rest of this first lockdown, I was exercising the hell of this Digitakt. And I made a jam every week. And yeah, that was the start of this whole Dawless thing. And I still think it's, for my process, it's very important. Sometimes I do music with Ableton. So beside this Dawless stuff, I also score for contemporary dance performances.
Mm-hmm.
And these are more ambient things that are really produced only in Ableton.
Mm.
So sometimes I go back to Ableton and I always think, okay, it's cool. But I always looking for the moment when I can go back to my hardware.
Do you ever take some of those sounds and for that you make in Ableton and put them into like a sampler and then build off of that in the Dawless setup?
Yeah, I do that a lot, to be honest. I get inspiration by, I have a synthesizer on an Ableton. It's called Pigments 2 from Arturia, I think. Mm-hmm. And I create some little loops with that or some sample packs for myself, and then I import it on Digitakt. Yeah, I do that a lot, to be honest. Or, well, not a lot, but occasionally, let's say, yeah.
We could make that work.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, I suppose, obviously Dawless is becoming, it's a bit of a trend and it's a bit of a thing that people are trying to get into right now, and there's lots of boxes and there's lots of ways and there's lots of methods, and obviously in what you're doing there is no right or wrong. But so take someone like myself, for example. I don't do anything Dawless, right? If I wanted to get into Dawless, where does one start? What do you need to do? What do you need to get rid of? What do you need to start with, so to speak?
Oh, that is a good question. Honestly, I started music making with my iPhone. I made releases completely with my phone. There is an app called Studio. I forgot the name. If you really want to make Dawless music, I can, from today's perspective, I wouldn't go and tell people buy the Digitakt because it's a lot of money. So, and you rather take maybe a controller which has knobs. If you really want to move something or take something in your hands, maybe buy a controller. There are cheap options available from Arturia or other manufacturers.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and then you can try it out with software. So I go to school right now, and for a music producer course, and there are 18-year-old people. They just start music making, and I am the old daddy who comes in this class, and they asked me and the teacher as well, what should we do? And there was one girl, she bought a micro machine micro, I think, which is also like a controller. I think there are lots of options that you can do, but it's really hard to tell somebody, okay, buy this or buy this, because it depends on your income.
Yeah,
it depends on your knowledge.
It's a slippery slope as well. I started off with Novation stuff, and the problem with that was you had to do a lot of mapping yourself. There's some automatic software, but it's not perfect. There's some stuff you want to do yourself. Then I went on to Push because it was dedicated and there was much less fiddling around. It just worked. And then I thought, I like a bit of this, because I think it's a very human reaction to want that whole knob for function and to change something, to hear the change. There's a connection. It's more fun. It's a natural way to do music. It's a way of feeling more connected with it, and to get away from the screen diving that just kills the flow. and so it just got worse from there. And then all the hardware started.
Yeah,
And,
that's true.
and now you're a fully fledged addict.
Software a lot though. I mean, I use the push a lot, and I do try and do as much as I possibly can on that without using the keyboard and mouse. For most of the same reasons. It's more fun, it's more musical. You feel more into what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, I even made sure that my desk was a standing up one, so that I'm in an active position. I'm not slouching in a chair with the mouse and keyboard in front of the glowing monitor like some surf.
Honestly,
Do
to
that.
come back to your question, I think if somebody wants to start music making, I would really tell him buy something simple. Because what you just said, Howard, is when I started music making, before I got a push, I got a machine as well. And I had no clue what is MIDI. I had no clue what to think about samples, or I didn't know anything. And then you get frustrated pretty soon. So I would rather go and say, okay, buy something very simple like a cork or something.
Yeah.
And get to know it really well.
Yeah.
And then add something, and don't add stuff without learning here first. Because you're right, you just come to a grinding halt trying to figure out how to make things work, and that's no fun.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here for.
That makes sense in its own right. Like, I mean, we do every so often we come back to this debate about buying more gear / really knowing the gear that you've got inside you. But I suppose if the idea is if you are starting off from the very beginning, you got to know that first piece of gear like the back of your hand. Otherwise, I mean, you're gonna have a bad time, as the meme goes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're thinking about playing live and operating that piece of equipment in the dark.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a different thing, and also what kind of music you want to do. I mean, if you want to go acoustic, then you might need some other stuff than you want. Yeah.
I have one question for you, Perlen. You mentioned how you wanted to go away from Ableton to add more of that human element and the mistakes and things like that. Do you feel like things like push or having a MIDI controller or MIDI keyboard can add some of that in Ableton, or do you still prefer just the Dawless aspect of just it's done, like you're recording it in one go, there it is?
Well, I think it comes back to the same question than this Dawless idea. So I think you can also have these mistakes with using the push, because you can also turn the faders and open up the filter, and then you have the computer which is operating, and with the Digitakt, it's the Digitakt chipset that's doing the operation and the sound engine and stuff. I think that's not the big difference. It's a computer just with a black box or with a uni box from Apple around it. So that is, to me, it makes no really a difference. And I think to answer your question, I think, that's possible. But sure, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, especially as the equipment gets more complicated, like the MPC Live.
That's just a DAW, isn't it, really?
It's a DAW in a box. What's the difference, Or if you've got a really complex sequencer, like Metropolix in Eurorack or something like that, it's just a big difference. Why do you care what's doing the sequencing? I keep coming back to the same thing. It's about the music, right? The music sounds good, and if you're enjoying yourself, and I think enjoyment is a good reason to want to get your hands on faders and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all good, right?
Yeah,
totally.
Make it sound good, dude.
Make it sound good, and you got to have fun while doing it. If it's just cranking out stuff, then what's the point at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's really insightful, as we say, as to what this is going in. I'm sure there'll be more opportunities to talk about Dawless and getting into it.
And if anyone in the chat has any questions for 59 Perlen, Dawless jams, music, whatever, let us know. We'll get to it.
Sure.
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
of course.
It's really nice. It's what we want to see. This show is brought to us by our patrons. These guys allow us to do this stuff on my Wednesday evening, and your guy, my
don't start with the time changes, man. We do not need to go there.
We haven't got much time, but we this is brought to you. Patrons, they get early access to certain things. For example, you can see my new EP ahead of time. It's dropping on Friday, but you can also already see it on Patreon if you are a patron. And they get other backstage stuff which you'd like to see. If you like the content that we're doing, and if you like to see more of this, then consider going. Pledges start at $2, and it allows us to do more of this stuff because we love it.
Yeah, so patrons also get to come on the show, our live streams. We usually come in around 11:35 my time. I think that's 8:35 your guys' time, or 7.
35 minutes past the hour.
It's all confused. Yeah, 35 minutes past the 35 minutes past the hour, I should say. And then if you want to check it out, patreon.com/audionautic. And I also want to mention that we have our live streams and our show Binary Stars on Spotify video podcast, and it's available as audio on all other podcasts. You can find it in the link in the description down below.
Yeah, completely. We are paving new ways. I mean, video on Spotify only just came out, and we decided to plug it. Cause, I mean, why not?
We've got the videos. We do it every week. Might as well get it on.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's try. Let's go on to the news, shall we, gents? There's quite a bit of news this week.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with some somber news. We have to, because I mean, why wouldn't we? Essentially. And we'll let Howard take the luck. We'll let Elon take the front on this one. I'm just going to bring this up here, not to bring the tone of everything down, but
we do it really. But I guess we could say thank you.
Yeah.
For starters, thank you for MIDI.
Thank you.
But
thank you for the profits.
Unfortunately, I was going to make a feeble joke about Sunwarper's endorsement, but we won't do that. He's, everybody that's responded to this in the industry has got something nice to say about the guy, and for sure he's been behind some legendary products, but also working with the guys at Roland and Yamaha back in the day to sort of define the MIDI standard in the first place, which, let's face it, can't have been easy. You're talking about competing companies, very big culture differences, other side of the world, and all the rest of it. And they'd had a big conference to try and get all vendors, everybody involved in it, and a lot of them just said no, stop that, not interested. So he sat down with the few that ended up doing it, namely Roland and Yamaha and so on, and they just thrashed it out between them somehow, got over their barriers and so on, and they did something that one of the drivers for that was to keep the cost down, because they knew they were going to have to put that on every single device that they made. And it was a bit of a bumpy start, and the people who weren't on board had to point finger at all the early mistakes and so on. But at the end of the day, they got it to happen, and it's one of these things that we're still using now. I mean, I'm looking around me and thinking, right, well, I could use a proprietary driver and a USB cable and put it into my computer for that device, or I could just use MIDI that just works and has worked as long as I've been interested in music and doing music. This is what we need. We need standards that are just open, everybody adheres to, and that work for years and years and years, and are cheap enough to be included on everything. It's not just that one thing, but it's about setting that precedent, I think. And that's quite a legacy to have, really. I mean, it's still a frustration to me, as you know. Too many things coming into my computer on USB. I don't know if 59 Perlen, you have any issues with this, but the Electron Digitact over Overbridge, there's a certain latency threshold that it likes. It goes beyond it, it drops off, and you lose your
It's horrible.
audio. So that's what's led me to just start entertaining ideas like this. Because
dongle, the dongle,
check that
the dongle.
Frankenstein.
I haven't tried this yet, but that is a Thunderbolt 2 cable into Thunderbolt to USB adapter to USB-C.
We heard you like dongles, so we put a dongle on a dongle on a dongle.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is fair. Like,
if this works, it means my Digitact has a dedicated space into my computer and dedicated bandwidth, and maybe won't keep dropping off and having to be reconnected all the time. But I could plug a MIDI cable in, and I could take the audio outs into my mixer, and it'll work because of the work people like this did, and because of an old standard that just does the job. I know there are issues with it. I know MPE moves it on and so on, but having stuff that works. I want to create music. I don't want to be messing around trying to make technology work that should just work.
Yeah, but let's not forget also his massive influence in electronic music and music in general with the synths that he made. Yeah, the MIDI is incredible. We owe a lot for that too. But I mean, the Prophets have been in almost like every generation of music, making doing something revolutionary, and they work great. They're still a coveted. When I started making electronic music, it was like the Prophet is the holy grail of synth. Like I need one, And then when I get it, it's just like endless inspiration, and just it's so fun to work with. It's got such an interesting sound. So, yeah, just a really influential person. I was really devastated to hear about his loss. I didn't know him, never met him, but just watching videos of him, he just seemed like a really good person. And you could just see by the amount of people in the industry and multiple industries talking about him after his passing. I mean, he leaves behind a huge legacy.
He does, and I mean, we owe a lot of what we do. That's an understatement, obviously, but we owe a lot to what we do now. And like at 59 Perlen, the kids that are in your production course, I imagine they'll be using a lot of the stuff that this guy just kind of pioneered. And
but they never heard that name, possibly.
Yeah, well, this is it, isn't it? These are the people that give us the life in which we currently exist and kind of revolve our lives around. And he's going to be sorely missed.
Never a tough product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the work he did with Oberheim as well. They just put out a final thing too. I mean, it probably wasn't the final, but it's the last thing they worked on together, and it looks really cool.
Yeah. It is. So, yeah, thank you very much, Dave Smith. It's always what you need. It's very much what you need. We'll be missed. Without trying to detract and transition too quickly away from the morbidity. On a semi-lighter note, I suppose, we have the new Neutron 4 coming out. This is not hardware, obviously, this is software. I thought it'd be interesting for people to see, because, I mean, you know how fun I find the controversial AI this segment. The Neutron 4 is brand new out from Isotope at a very cheap $299. So just get that one. If you can't get a Digitac, maybe go for the Neutron 4.
You need something to make music with. Just hum into it; it'll do everything after that for you.
Exactly.
Spoons.
Yeah.
I played around with the Neutron 3 for a little while. It was quite convoluted in FL Studio. I was just curious if you guys ever used anything like this before.
Yeah, I have.
What are your thoughts? Like, you put it on your mixer, and it basically sets the levels and gain stages for you. Have you found a success rate with it?
Is Neutron the one that you put on individual tracks, or the one that's supposed to be? No, what's it called? Ozone's the one you put on the master, right? Because I use Neutron. Like if I'm either trying to make a really quick, rough mix, I'll use Neutron on a couple things that are like problem issues. I don't feel like going through the EQ. I just need to get like something to render it out. Or if I'm having a little trouble figuring out like what I want to do with it, I'll just use the AI to do like a tone thing, be like, oh, I like that, I don't like that, and then I'll do it myself. But it's nice to just, if you're stuck in a rut with something, or just need to do something quick, you just do that. It's decent enough.
So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's very interesting. 59 Perlen, as a more of a traditionalist, as we say, with the Dawless jamming world. How does this sit with you in terms of this getting a computer to do it for you? Is it something that interests you at all?
I have one too. So I think they have like on Black Friday, they usually have sales 70% off and stuff. So I have an Ozone 8 or 7 or something. I used it a couple of times because so let's say when I have an official release, I don't do that myself, so I dare to master myself, because I have not the equipment at home, so I give this to my engineers to be on the safe side. But if I have like a YouTube jam or something, I also wanted to master a little bit so that the level is okay and stuff. Sometimes I use Ozone, but I'm not a big fan of this whole AI thing, because I think the whole music production process is getting more and more automated, and this is a part of it. Also, like melody generators, like Captain plugins. and
Yeah,
stuff.
melody
Yeah.
source and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's all going in this automated direction, which is to me like, okay, if a computer is making my music, what should I do then?
Yeah.
That's not, I don't get it. But I get the point of these plugins. It's cool. You can get the mix a bit better, a bit more present. You can get the level a bit more representative. I think that's not bad. But to me, I mix my stuff on the Digitakt. I try to
Keep it raw.
choose the samples already from a mixing perspective. So I know that the frequencies are more or less balanced, and sometimes it's not, but I try to do that. So I rarely use those tools, to be honest. What
Yeah.
about you guys?
Well, I mean, I'll lead. The in stuff for Curtis and Curtis's stuff, never really. I do this quite a bit. I use quite a bit of this for AI for the stuff that I do outside of Curtis, commissions, etc. You know, the difference between the art and the product. But when it comes to my stuff and my own work, I never really use it just because it takes the fun out of it. But I always separate the product from the art, and like if you've got a commission or something like that where you've got a deadline of 3 days and you need to make a 5-minute trailer score, for example, then sometimes these things can improve your workflow, and where the nuances of what we consider the artwork to be, that's when it can kind of be a bit more useful. That's what I think.
I still find you always need to like check it after too,
Always.
especially with
Always.
Ozone. I mean, I've never had luck with Ozone's mastering. As a mastering engineer, it's just like I can't stand what it does to the sound and stuff, and it usually clips and so it's always good as like a check.
And then go, right, why did you do that then?
Yeah, where's that come from? Hang on, what?
Yeah.
Sort of freaks me out, but I'm kind of curious as to. I use Ozone. I think it's 8 sometimes. But yeah, it's not something I'd want to absolutely rely on, and I do think there's a certain element of it's an extension of the artistic process, really, especially if you're doing it yourself. I don't do all of my own. I don't do the stuff for Wear a Fox mod, but yeah, I like to do it myself. I was a mastering engineer at one point as well, so I'm familiar with it. And I don't like to rely on any one tool, and certainly not automatic, things. I mean, that being said, I think it does a very good job of what it does, but yeah, I mean, so does a mastering engineer.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Finally, for the news segment, I want to bring this up here. We haven't. It wouldn't be ADSN right now if it wasn't for the gold here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this, obviously we brought you the Gold Technics turntable, and a lot of the feedback was it's too cheap.
Needs more gold. Needs to be more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anything like me, as an underground independent musician, I'm often anyway spending the vast hordes of cash I get from Spotify. So this is an ideal choice, I think. It's only 37,000 UK pounds.
I don't think that's enough gold, quite frankly.
I mean, that's I mean,
You're right.
Nice.
I've found somewhere that's still got some in stock. It's crazy they haven't flown off the shelves. I know.
So that's the next piece of gear you're getting, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to sound better if it's gold, right?
Always. Like, I mean, if you're not scratching your beats on a gold-plated record player, are you even a DJ? At the end of the day?
Exactly.
And you need 2 of them to fade into the
That's
other.
true. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, for less than £80,000, you could have that.
Yeah.
Completely, absolutely, and utterly.
They go nice with your gold-plated jet.
Bargain.
Exactly. There's not much more to say about that, other than you're not really a producer until you've got something that's gold-plated. Looking at you, Sunwarper, with your normal SP404.
I know. Such a plebe.
Yeah. Me too, actually. I really should
It's fair.
pimp mine up.
Exactly. We are 40 minutes past the hour of 11/7/8, whatever it might be. Who knows? Time.
Past your hour, wherever
Exactly.
you are.
Wherever you are at home. We hope you're enjoying the show. We have Hydro Fighter in the lobby. This is the part of the show where every week, if you're a patron, we invite our patrons to come on and be part of the show for the second half of the show. And Hydro Fighter is a dedicated and loyal guest on the show. We always love having him on. He's in the lobby, gents. Should we get him in?
Let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Let's get him in. Let's get him in. Let's get him in. We'll bring him in. 5 people on.
Yeah, we
Hi,
don't actually
Hi.
fit on the live stream. Hold on, I gotta
guys,
reset us.
Perlen.
Hi,
How you doing,
Steven.
man? This is the first time we've had a virtual face-to-face.
Yeah, that's true. We chatted sometimes, yeah.
How's my
Great to
level?
see you.
How's my
Hold
level,
on, I
guys?
gotta reset the screen first, then we'll do the levels. We've not had 5 people before, so... And Curtis, you stand on the edge, so you're just getting cropped out.
I thought we had 5 people in one of the first ones.
Yeah, but it was all just for patrons, so it wasn't like a massive...
That was our beta testing,
Yeah.
kind of.
So I apologize, Curtis, your right shoulder is absent.
That's my best shoulder.
I know. What do we do? It's a sacrifice you must make. We appreciate your sacrifice. And then now I can do the levels. So Hydro Fighter, how are you? I'll get some levels while you talk.
Check.
Yeah, you can raise it a little bit.
So it's Mr. Perlen, Mr. Lake, Mr. Warper, and Mr. Tiss.
Mr. Tiss.
Tiss,
Yes, that's
yes.
exactly right. Well done, Hydro Fighter. Mr.
Or
Fighter, yeah.
Thirdus. Mr. Thirdus. I like Thirdus.
To be fair, Curtis does have a surname, but none of you guys know that. So
I'm sure that'll be revealed on one of the albums or something. We'll get there.
Only to patrons, though.
only to patrons. Yeah. If
I
you wanna
was
be a-
looking for that, but I couldn't find it. You have a website, and I was browsing your website, but no.
It's all very hush hush. I mean, the voices in my head tell me things, and when they reveal the secrets of Curtis and the Brudonian system. I'll
So do you know his first name?
Of course, I know his
Okay.
first name.
Okay, so
his first
that
name is
was-
Curtis.
Okay. His surname or whatever then. Do you know his last name?
Of course I do.
Okay, so you're just not telling.
No.
Yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah, all shall be revealed in due time.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, Hydro Fighter, how are you, my friend? How have you been? What's been going on in your world?
I'm good, guys. Opposite of Dawless, I cracked on the VCV rack.
Ooh.
Good job.
Ian Lake will be so happy.
Yep.
How do you like it?
It's cool. I
Yeah.
got a lot to learn with it, but it's pretty intuitive. I originally what sparked my idea to get it was how compatible it was with the BeatStep Pro,
Mm-hmm.
and how compatible it is with controlling parameters in the Arturia soft synth suite.
Ooh, really?
Interesting. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be cool.
So, which I'm not going to be configuring it the way that I saw it in the video. I'm going to do it a little bit different, really house it into Ableton. And I found a really cool Max for Live plugin that allows you to control any parameter in Ableton with the controls from the VCV rack.
Huh.
You see, Ableton just got a lot better with the addition of the LFO plugin that you can just throw in there and map to anything. But using VCV and all the sequences and, function generators and possibilities you have in that, to control anything in Ableton is massive. I mean, it triggers your imagination, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah, lots of rerouting things going to happen for me. Lots of different sounds, too.
Don't get the fans wearing on the old computer.
I'm already feeling it, man. She gets hot. I just blow on it a little bit. Cool it. That's the big story of my life. Curtis, I was with Shady this weekend.
Shady.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
Where was my selfie, bro?
We were
Yeah.
gonna do a voice message to you, but I think we just lost track of it. So we will sometime this summer randomly get you one, buddy.
I want to see that. You know how much I love my voice messages. I really want to see that.
Yeah, I get that impression.
Shout out to Shady Josh.
Okay, yeah, shout out to Shady. We love you, bro. Yeah, we love you, bro. He lovely. Shady sent me some codes for the release out on Shady Records on Friday, and it's sounding pretty lovely. So that's what we want to see.
Yeah,
it's always nice to.
It's microtonal stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just off a little bit where you could notice it, but I don't know how the guy executes it. It's cool.
I mean, it's a whole nother world. Like, we need that terror thing that we had on the show a few weeks ago.
Oh
That
yeah,
microphone in the wood.
the Soma, was that the
Terror,
Soma? Yeah.
Soma. Yeah. I mean, I need that.
That's genius.
I'm sure Eon Lake already bought it. He's in the queue for it.
No, I've got a Lyra, but
Is that
I don't even know
microtonal too?
what that's going to cost. That was a prototype. I think it's going to be. There's going to be one version that's under £1,000, and then there's going to be a more crazy version that's over £1,000. But it's more about the case. Apparently, the inside will be the same, and what it can do will be the same. But there'll be
Okay.
a really nice version
Huh.
and a more cheaply housed version that's not quite as expensive. But under £1,000 is not that cheap, man.
I suppose it's a bit like the Hydrasynth. They've got the Hydrasynth, the big desktop one, and then they've got the little micro one as well. It's essentially the same thing, just a bit more difficult to kind of ascertain. We'll have to see them. We'll have to see. But I want to move us into the round robin very quickly. It's a very quick round robin because we've got a lot of stuff on this week, and you know we try to maintain some form of schedule in this shambles of a show. So the it's a very quick one because we've got 5 people on the docket today. On the docket, we've got 5 people in the show today. But I was chatting with the guys in the studio over the week, and as you know, we crank out quite a lot of tunes, and the idea is, again, when do we think, or when do we sign off on a track, all right? So this week, I want to find out from you guys what is just one thing. I don't need to go into a big kind of long essay about the whole thing, but at what point, what definitive point do you take a look at the track, be it in the Digitac or be it in Ableton or even, God forbid, Logic? And,
shots fired right there.
I'm joking, brother. I love you.
I don't care. I love Logic, man. I'll defend that till the end.
Yeah. What is one definitive way that you gentlemen can look at a track and go, right, it's done. It's done. And we'll start with our guest for this week. We'll start with 59 Perlen. At what point, 59 Perlen, do you go, this is it, I'm signing off on this, I'm sending this to you?
Honestly, I changed my mind about that question. So when I was using Ableton for my productions, I couldn't get to the end because you can add another EQ, you can add another plugin and another layer and another and another and another. With the Digitact or with this whole Dawless setup, the decision if a track is ready or not is more or less if I can jam around with it and I have fun.
Yeah.
So these tracks I produce with this setup are more like a moment. They are like a snapshot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, or what I do a lot is I perform them. Like I had a little party here some month ago and I performed them. And some of the tracks I developed further for version 2 or something.
Mm-hmm.
The moment when I do them, that feels like a very temporary moment or a snapshot. And that makes it a little different to me. But when I want to produce an album, let's say the album that I just put out, then it's like that is like a mix of both worlds. So I record them and then I add some stuff in Ableton sometimes, so I don't work completely Dawless. And the moment when I feel I start to add stuff that don't take effect on the track, then I know I start overdoing it, and then I take a break, and then I start to remove stuff until I know, okay, this is important, and that element is not important, so I can leave it away. So there is always like a momentum when I know I start doing stuff to this track without any sense.
That's interesting. It's almost what the phrase that popped to mind is what Sunwarper uses quite a bit: diminished returns.
Yeah.
The idea that you can keep
true.
adding to something.
Mm-hmm.
I know that too well.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one. Hydrofighter, how about you, my man?
I would probably piggyback on that. I tend to listen to the songs over and over and over once I have the arrangements done, and nitpick the things that pop out. So it's either when I know I can't do any more to it, to add anything to it, or remove anything to it, or if I'm so sick of listening it, I just want to be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
one.
Hatred of the art. That's it. That's a very
Yeah.
good way of putting it. Yeah, completely. Do you find it gets easier as you carry on, or what?
For me,
Yeah.
I think you guys know my process, but I typically will mix everything on the controllers and then refine the sounds of things. So, yeah, I mean, that's typically how I've done it. I don't know. It's just a process, and I build synths out before I do harmonic parts, and it's really this step approach of everything. I don't know. I don't know if it gets easier or harder. I mean, you want to change everything new that you do. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
Change the process every time through. Yeah, fair enough. Eon Lee, how about you, man?
For me, it's an iterative process. It's I know what I want things to sound like. I know the tone that I'm going for, and that's usually there. Really, it's more panel beating, really, for me, mixing and deciding when it's done. It's just listening, and I do a lot of listening outside the studio. When I think it's right, I'll bounce out and move on to something else, and I might have a bunch of mixes depending on how much stuff I'm writing to listen to, and I'll listen to it out of the studio a lot. And it's just about making notes on anything that is a problem or it is sticking out. Just dealing with that quickly, bounce it out again. Not make too much of a big deal about it. Just deal with what you need to, as light a touch as possible, and just gently tease it until there's nothing really that's a problem anymore, and then it's done.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, without trying to create any problems or find new things. It's just like, is it a problem? If you're not aware of whether or not it's a problem, it's not a problem.
yeah, you don't want to tweak it where it makes it worse.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kill it stone dead. So really, I find I need to get to the mix within a certain time frame, or it's going to suffer as a result. It won't be as good as it would have been otherwise. So it doesn't take me that long, though. There's just a few little things. If it's a little bit niggly, there's just one little thing that just pokes out or something that's just a bit irritating. It's just how quickly can you effectively deal with that issue and make it go away so that it's not in the way of the rest of the stuff that's going on, because that's what it's about, But yeah, I'm generally working through lists and ticking things off, and when the lists are gone and they're all ticked off, it's done.
All
Try
right.
not to worry too much. You could be there forever otherwise.
Yep.
We could be circling that drain. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, that I feel, knowing Sunwarper as well as I do, I feel like that is a great transition. The idea of lists and ticking stuff off.
I thought you were gonna say circling the drain is the the part. No, I am similar to Eon Lake in terms of my DAW productions. Like, I'll make a list of I'll bounce it out, listen in the car on headphones, make a list of the things that I hear that are glaring, fix those, and then reference it with a track I like really respect, by like Boards of Canada or something in the genre I'm like around for this track. And if it's close to the same levels, like that reference is mainly for like quality of, if there's any frequencies sticking out, but also just like, is it meeting those levels? Because as a mastering engineer, I want to get those like competitive levels and things like that. So that's that. Once that's done, I just say that's it. And then for Dawless Productions, it's really just, did I perform the whole thing through to a point where I like said, oh, that's awesome. I like the way it sounded. I was in a groove, and there's, minimal like glaring mistakes. Little human mistakes are fine, but if I hit like a bunch of wrong notes or something, then it's like, well, I'll redo it real quick,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe a mulligan, as they say. Try that one again. That didn't help.
Yeah.
Are you recording your Dawless stuff stereo into your DAW?
Most of my Dawless stuff at the moment is actually in mono because I'm lazy and only have one chord going out of the SP. But I just like that it kind of adds that extra lo-fi vibe for those. I mean, I just put most Dawless stuff just gets released on YouTube, and then I might put it up soon on like a Bandcamp subscription thing. But I like that sound. It's like as minimal and lo-fi as you can get. It's just fun to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a completely.
Because I go so much more maximal on like these DAW productions, like 59 Perlen was saying, where you add an EQ and add the, it's like it's nice to just be like as simple as I can go. Mono, boom, it's done.
That works.
Yeah.
Fun that way.
Yeah, it's fun.
There's a more traditional approach to it, and there's the limitation. Like one thing that we have with DAW-based tunes, and especially now that MIDI is the whole thing, the possibilities are endless. So to have some form of limitation, it does.
Yeah, it's good to avoid that option paralysis. When you have every option in front of you, it's like I'm not going to choose anything because I don't know where to start. So it's like, well, you just make it as simple as you can go. It's like an Occam's razor for an SP or for Dawless jams.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's good. That's really neat. I like that.
Gotta get my little philosophy major out at least once an episode,
Right. Money well spent, sir.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that to a 7-year-old the other day. That was fun.
I bet it was, yeah. But yeah, that works nicely. For me, it's more of a hardware thing than anything else. I don't know if you're aware, I work mainly off of an 8-year-old laptop with 16 gigs of RAM. So it's usually when my computer starts screaming at me, I'm like, right, that's done.
Well, there's that limitation popping up again,
That's
right?
cool.
Who needs mono when you've got an 8-year-old laptop?
It's just it just starts screaming at me, and it's just like, right. I mean, if like when the bit rate and the buffer rate is at its max, and I'm still screaming, I'm like, right, probably time to move on to a new.
Does your
project.
computer just put a pop-up up like, please kill me now?
Yeah.
I can't do
Just
this
a sad
anymore.
face. Just a sad face.
Yeah.
Have you no mercy?
I like that.
I mean, it's as good as any. One of these days, I'll get a fully fledged, like, proper laptop, and I mean, I like to think my production game will level up. But truth is, it probably won't.
You might be paralyzed by it. You'll be like, wait, I'm not being stopped by buffers and this. Like, what do I do?
I used to have that problem with my old laptop, and then I got the iMac that I use now, which was much more powerful, and it's got 32 gig of RAM or something. Then I just started caning that, basically.
That's what you can do.
We're already running productions that have got over 90 tracks in them.
I mean,
Endless.
this is it. Like
You can
Psychonautic.
have no problems maxing out equipment.
There's like something like I think there's either 87 or 93. I can't remember which number in Axis for Psychonautic Volume 2, which comes out on Friday, and that is the biggest project I've ever done. Now I can imagine.
Half of them have Valhalla.
Yeah. You're not wrong there, bro. You're not wrong there.
Hey, I think that's the longest it took for Valhalla Supermassive to be brought up. In an
57
episode.
minutes in.
Yeah.
Drinking game.
We played the long con on that one, gents.
Bow out with that one. That is a great way to do it. Yeah. We'll see. But anyway, I'll always work on a laptop, but hopefully I'll get a good one at some point. Anyway.
Hopefully you're backing your stuff up. Or
I-
Audionaut.
Everyone should back their stuff up.
Well, Audionautic is actually backed up more than Curtis.
Local and off-site if you can do it.
We'll get it done. Just don't just be because we don't want to jinx anything. We haven't had any crashes yet. Anyway, gents, we'd like to we'll move on for now, but we'd like to know, you guys watching, listening, whatever in the chat, when do you know that a track is done? What's your kind of method? I mean, is there more than one? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, nothing's binary in this world, but we'd love to know what you know. You can let us know, because we are just 5 dudes who, let's face it, we know some things, but like we'd like to.
But I have a 6th method. You just stop. You just have a time frame, and then you say, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah.
Schedule.
Okay.
A
Fine,
schedule.
fine,
Yeah,
then.
that's very
Something's
adult
done.
of you.
Yeah.
Let's have a schedule.
I know.
It's done.
Very German, I guess.
Gonna say. Our last little bit, because we are at 59 minutes past the hour. Our last little bit, the return of Sunwarper's marketing.
It's back.
segment.
The
It's
marketing
back, yeah.
minute, whatever we want to
Marketing
call it.
minute.
We're still waiting for a name. Anyone in the chat, comments, let us know.
Yeah, completely. This one came in very late, so I.
Well, because
I
the
did
guy talks about it, I think Tuesday nights. Adam Asseri, Instagram head posted on Tuesday, so I had a whole different thing planned for the marketing minute. Then we changed like the whole schedule for this week, and I was like, that'll be too long, so I'll do that next week. But then this got announced, and this is pretty big.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Sunwarper, take us through this monumental change.
Yeah, so first I want to apologize to anyone watching because our faces... Actually, I think I can get our faces to come all in. Okay, we're good. So, Instagram update. This is just... the Instagram that I sent Curtis is just a Instagram, like, influencer coach or whatever, but she has a really good, quick carousel all about this. So, Adam Mosseri announced 4 new features for Reels. So the first one, Curtis, if you could scroll or move it one more. This is cool. 90-second Reels. So as most of you probably know, or anyone who's worked with Reels, you can only do up to 60 seconds at the moment. Now you can do 90 seconds, so a little more time, which is nice. Still the whole 9:16 video and all that stuff, but it shows up, I think, as 4:5 still on the feed. And then next one, Curtis. This one, I'm not sure if it's that important for the type of Reels I make. 59 Perlen, I know you make Reels, so I'd be curious what you think. You can import original audio into the Reels you make on Instagram. I usually put audio because it's not release stuff, in like Final Cut. I make the Reel and then I post it. But you can actually put both. You can put like stuff that's on Instagram, or you can do your own audio. Perlen, does that interest you at all?
Honestly, I don't use Reels so much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know from some guys they have a lot of success with that. For me, I usually have the original audio. I think if you want to promote, or maybe you have like you want to promote an album track or so, maybe that is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool that they have it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's cool it's there. I struggle to see its use in my own reel making, but it's great that it's there. Next one.
Get out of your mono world.
Well, no, most of my reels are, like the guitar ones and synth ones are recorded in a DAW with stereo, so don't worry about that. This one's really cool, though. Interactive stickers and reels. So this was in stories for a long time. You can put those little, like, vote which color or what movie should I watch, and you put 2 movies or whatever. You can now do that in Reels, and they're interactive. They show like the poll, so if people click the left one, it'll show like 75% click this one, 25% clicks this one, or whatever. Just another way to bring interactivity, which potentially means more exposure to the Reel. So that one I thought was pretty cool. And then the last one, say again, Ian Lake?
You could do is this mix done yet or not?
That's what I'm going to start doing. Let the people vote. Then Eon Lake will be like, oh, you don't have to bother me anymore about whether it's done or not. And then the last one, this one I think is really cool. It's kind of like what Twitter and even Facebook do. You can pin 3 posts to the top of your profile now. So if you have some reels or posts that are doing really well, or something that really states who you are as a musician or as a brand, you can pin those to the top of your page. So I actually went on Instagram on my profile and pinned 3 to the top. And so when you go to a profile that does it, they're literally just the first 3 on the grid. And then your timeline goes back to newest order. So I think that's really cool because you can show off, not show off, but you can show who you are in 3 posts.
So did you set it up like you're a trio in a band where you're playing guitar and then bass?
Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? That actually would be really good. Yeah, no, I did 2 guitar ones, and I think that one of me singing farther or something. But that I might do that. I'm gonna steal that idea.
That works nicely. That works what you need. I think that last one they stole that off TikTok, if I'm not much mistaken.
I think the 90-second one is competing with TikTok as well because I think TikTok lets you do 1 minute and 10-minute videos or something. Right. They have some long form you can do. So I think they're starting to. I mean, everything Instagram's doing lately seems to be it's their direct competitor. So they seem to be doing things to try and.
Ironic, really, because TikTok is an absolute security nightmare, and Instagram is much less so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But TikTok is like just super popular right now, I guess. So.
It's almost as if we're coming towards this point in space and time where everything is just going to be the same and nothing has any variation about anything.
Yeah, very homogenized. That's kind of what we're seeing with these social media things, and like Facebook is now doing reels, which it's like, but Instagram is Facebook, so what's going on?
One of the best things about Instagram for me is it's not TikTok.
That should be their branding. Instagram. It's not TikTok.
Yeah, I can get bored with that.
Great.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's what we need. But yes, thank you for bringing that to the table.
Yeah.
Sunwarper. It's very useful. Definitely the reels. I mean, we use reels for Audionautic quite a bit, and I know that you do it quite a bit. I mean, I always struggle week in and week out to find like just 30 seconds of hard-hitting great content because we've got so much great content.
Oh, I like that spin.
Now suddenly,
now you can do 90 seconds of great content.
Exactly. So, I'm looking forward to that coming through, and next week it's gonna be really fun. So we'll see. I've got to get 5 faces on the reel next week. This is
You'll have fun with that because the whole.
We're all going on a diet for this reel.
Yeah, it'll look interesting. Maybe you could do like if one person's talking, just put them, and then when the next person talks, put them.
Highlight, spotlight.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I feel like that might be
a lot of work.
And
just cut it up into 3 reels, side by side.
Side by side.
It'll make no sense, but it'll be on the grid.
That was all talking at once.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
It's just like the real thing.
We'll see what happens on Tuesday, shall we, gents? So that's always nice. But I think that brings us to the end of this particular edition of ADSN, ADSN 15. We we did. It's 6 minutes past the second hour now, so I think we kind of.
But we started at 11:05, so we're on time.
Look at us being professional and sticking to a schedule and working. It's almost like we're good at this, you know.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
It's very nice to. It's always nice to sit down and chat with you, gentlemen. It's always fun. And does anyone else have any closing words or final words?
I just want to say thanks to 59 Perlen for coming on and sharing his Dawless knowledge.
A pleasure.
It's great having you on. Great to finally meet you. I know we've been talking on Instagram of all things, but it's good to meet you. Love to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, sure. I think I talked to
Karen.
all of you in a way. So yeah, it's great to see you all. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always nice. Hydrofight, it's always a pleasure to have you here, man. I love tuning in every week to see your face, and it is beautiful. So yeah.
Oh yeah, don't give me too much credit there, buddy. I might wear a mask next week. Maybe some lips. Maybe some lipstick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right.
I feel like
and we just got to mention, Eon, like, thank you for coming back from all of your vacations to make time for this episode.
I'm off again soon.
yeah, thank you, fucking up.
Who's using your gear if you're on vacation all the time?
No, he has it. It's self-sustaining now. That modular just keeps going.
Yeah, just generative, ambient, just the whole thing, like, the whole way through.
I'm not really needed.
Yeah.
No.
He's more of a hindrance to the modular now.
I'll just make sure it's switched on when the cable plugged in. Right.
It's now sentient. That's the main thing. That's what we need to take away from that. So yeah, that works.
But that is ADSN this week. If you want to check out more, head to our Patreon. It's in the description. And you can also check out our playlist, which we've been updating frequently. It's now over, I think, 220 followers. So really appreciate everyone tuning in and listening to it. It's been a lot of fun curating it, and it led to the genesis of Binary Stars, which we love making. And 59 Perlen was one of the featured artists on that last Binary Star, so check it out.
Thanks a lot.
59 Perlen, where can people find you on the internet?
On 59perlen.com.
All right, simple
That's
enough.
Because I don't like Facebook. I hate Instagram, Facebook. So they locked me out 2 years ago.
Oh.
So I can still use Instagram, but then I focused on my website. That's 59perlen.com.
Cool.
Good. That's what
all
I
right.
need to say. Another man with a website. I love that.
Yeah, I really got to make one sometime.
I've got a domain name.
There you go. You're making it.
Get on. For those at home watching, thank you ever so much. It's lovely. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. Let us know. Shady, great job. Thank you very much indeed. We thank you. think. And yeah, it's great that you've even stuck around for the hour. We'll be back next week. And yeah, for now, take it easy.
All right. See you all
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.